If you are an e-commerce operator, I'm going to start off by saying something that may sound wrong or triggering, but bear with me. Your email list is probably killing your revenue and it's lying to you. Now, that big, juicy, subscriber filled list that you have that you feel proud of for having amassed over time could be the thing that's quietly dragging down your actual retention marketing's performance. And I've audited hundreds of brands across different verticals, niches, and industries. And I constantly see this exact same pattern that is common across all these different brands. And you have brand A, which is a brand with, let's say, 50,000 subscribers that is making less revenue than brand B that has 10,000 subscribers. Same traffic, same product, same industry. Now, the difference between those two brands has nothing to do with the size of the actual email list and everything to do with how that email list was actually acquired and built over time. So in this video, I'm going to show you the list building tactics that are quietly destroying e-commerce businesses. I'm going to dive into the techniques that actually compound and bring in more revenue for your brand and more active subscribers. And I'm also going to dive into a software that's changing how smart e-com brands are actually acquiring bigger email lists by de-anonymizing the traffic that is hitting their store. So let's get into it. First and foremost, let's get this paradox out of the way. There are 50K email lists in the same industry and same product and same pricing that make less than a 10K email list. So there are three things that I want you to keep in mind here. Number one, the principle that size of the list is not actual intent of the people that are in that list. Volume inflates your vanity score, right? You feel good because you have this giant, beautiful email list, but not your revenue, right? And that's because clicks are not buyers. A click is a signal, a purchase intent, but it doesn't mean that it's revenue in the bank. And number three is that subscribers are not customers. Signups compound only when they want you to sell, essentially. So let's get into it. The only metric that actually matters, and this is something that I've been trying to dispel for so long in the retention marketing community, is that no other metric actually matters other than revenue per email. And this is a graph that shows you exactly why this is the case. You have two scenarios. You have brand A here with a 50K email list. They send an email and their revenue per recipient is 12 cents per person. It's flat and then it slowly starts to bleed. Versus brand B, I see this all the time, that has a fifth of that email list, sends out same exact email or something very similar, and they make $1.40 revenue per email. It climbs and it compounds monthly. Again, same product, same similar send, same industry. It's 1/5 of the list, but it makes 2 times the revenue, right? That happens because of how we are actually approaching building lists. Now, here's what you do not want to do, and this is what I call the garbage playbook. These are the tactics that quietly destroy the asset you think you're building. Number one, tactics that nobody actually cares about. If you are running giveaway campaigns, no one in that sign up actually cares about your list. No one actually cares about your brand. No one cares about your products. These are generally tire kickers that are looking for some sort of a freebie. So there's a lot of brands traditionally that run these giveaways, free trip here, we're giving away free product, and they think they're amassing this beautiful big sized email list, but ultimately they're just amassing a bunch of tire kickers that don't really care about the brand, don't really care about the product. They're just looking for a freebie. Number two, gift card pop-ups. Anybody who's signing up for a free gift card signed up for the gift card, not for you, okay? They're, again, looking for some sort of freebie. Paid low intent traffic, so buying pop-up signups from unrelated searches. A lot of people think that buying email lists is gonna be good. Oh, I'm selling this sort of sport product or this sort of supplement. If I buy an email list from this scrape list or whatever, I can easily make sales. You're just renting strangers that have absolutely nothing to do with your brand. They have no clue who you are or what you sell. And ultimately, this ends up destroying your domain reputation. So if you're thinking about buying lists, absolutely not. Stay away from it. And this is another popular one. Not necessarily some sort of win an iPhone contest, but win something contest, right? Win our free latest release, win our, care package, right? It's this massive prize. It has zero product relevance. You get 10K entries, and if you're lucky, maybe only a couple people actually buy from them. So these are the tactics that I see constantly being run by e-com brands that nobody cares for, and ultimately it ends up dragging down your retention program. Now, let's get into the actual real cost of giveaway lists. I'm going to break down exactly why these suck, and then ultimately I'm going to get into what are some of the best strategies that you actually can use to compound your list size. So In terms of giveaway, this is actually a stat where 70% of giveaway signups unsubscribe or go cold within 90 days. Your open rate actually is the first to take a damage and a hit because in the beginning you have a higher open rate, but over time it starts to decay and starts to go down. The second thing is a lot of times these actually land in promotions tab because people are signing up with very little intent. They're looking for some sort of giveaway. Your actual emails are set up in a way where like your subject lines are giveaway or things for entering or freebie or whatever it is. Gmail is getting smarter and smarter, and it's trained to actually put those into the promotions tabs, or even worse, the spam list. So you got to be careful with this because ultimately you think that you're building a bigger list quicker, but it ends up sucking. Now, the main thing I want to say is that you don't actually have a list size problem. You have a quality problem. And if you apply the same effort to acquisition instead of quantity of, let's say you're actually getting the quality, right? You're going to produce drastically different outcomes. So let's get into the compound playbook. These are the 4 pillars that are going to turn every subscriber into an appreciating asset. Number 1, having smart pop-ups in ZPD, and I'm going to show you some examples of this, but generally what we like to do is we like to do 2-step pop-ups with 1 qualifying question. Generally, we're capturing both email and SMS. So for example, we might, in the most plain terms, offer some sort of mystery offer, get people in to sign up, or we might do maybe 10% off in exchange for your email. You get to that second screen and it's a 15% if you sign up for your SMS as well. So it's kind of like a little upsell opt-in, and that works really good. The second is open send identity resolution. This is a big one. This is the software I was talking about earlier. And this actually helps capture 98% of the anonymous traffic that is visiting your site that would otherwise walk away. Pillar number 3 is the content upgrades in the quiz funnels. This is huge. What we want to do is we want to trade some specific value for that person's email list. So if you're selling some sort of supplements, then a great lead generation could be the top 5 strategies to build muscle as spoken about by, I don't know, Arnold Schwarzenegger or something like this. Or you can create a quiz funnel. We did this for one of our clients that has a hair loss product trailing 12 million a year, where we have a quiz funnel that is basically built using Octane AI, which is a great platform, by the way. And there are different types of hair loss, right? It could be hormonal, it could be lifestyle, it could be, stress or whatever it is, or medical, alopecia, things like this. So by creating a quiz funnel, we can educate people through the journey of hair loss, figure out what type of hair loss they have, and ultimately prescribe them the exact product that is going to give them the results in relation to their actual issue, right? Now, these are the pop-ups that actually perform the best in my humble opinion, because ultimately this is where you can actually get the most amount of engagement, get micro commitment along the way, and not only pitch a product at the end of this in a way where we are delivering some sort of solution to their problem, but throughout the process we can actually capture their name, their email, and even more information than just their email address or their SMS number. Pillar number 4, strategic partnerships. So one of the best things that you could do, we saw this with Yeti, doing a collaboration. I can't remember with what brand, but ultimately you're doing cross-pollination between brands, right? So let's say you have a supplement brand and you specialize maybe in, let's say, maybe like weight loss supplements, for example. And you have a partner brand that supplements, a supplement brand that is focused on maybe muscle building products, right? Whey protein, things like this. That strategic partnership where you're doing cross promotions and you're swapping audience is one of the best ways to actually serve the same customer, even though you're in similar industries and have completely different products, right? One newsletter mention can outperform a month of paid signups. And when you have similar sized audiences and similar engagements, it's a quid pro quo for both brands, and you can actually cross pollinate and capture a lot of each other's customers. So this is one of the things that a lot of people aren't even doing nowadays, but we've seen this work exceptionally well for some brands. Now let's talk about pop-up strategies, because the right pop-up can convert 5 to 15% of your website traffic. And a lot of times the old way of doing these pop-ups where you're just doing 10% off is kind of played out. And so we're seeing a lot of different strategies perform better. Mystery offers, right? Where people have to sign up to actually reveal the offer. You could do a 10% off plus a free gift, for example. You could do a freebie with your purchase. You could do free shipping and a freebie. You could do maybe $1 off, and that's pegged to the average order value that you would otherwise give in a 10% off offer. There's so many different ways of doing this, but the main thing you want to implement here is that you have multi-step and it's value first. Personally, we love doing ZPD based pop-ups. So this is basically where we ask a question, for example, like this brand right here, they sell THC, CBD, kava and kratom and like mushroom products. These are 4 different types of products that they sell, and a lot of customers are looking for something in specific. So a great way to actually segment people is to ask them, what are you most interested in? And so by doing that, we can actually capture a goal, a preference, or some sort of information that we can later segment both on our automations and our campaigns. And at the same time, we can capture their email and SMS through a micro commitment strategy where we get them to engage with the pop-up first, and then we offer them some sort of incentive or discount before they actually join the list. Another thing you should do is delay the fire of that. So generally 6 to 10 seconds across the board works well. You can create exit intent pop-ups as well. You can create scroll depth, so people who actually scroll, let's say 40%, get hit with a pop-up instead of just popping up as soon as they land on the website. And making sure that you have single opt-in set up. The moment you have dual opt-in set up and you have to get people to confirm that they want to subscribe to your list, you're absolutely going to crush the size and the speed at which you're growing your list. So you want to be careful to not have single opt-in engaged, double opt-in engaged on your website. What are 7 questions that every pop-up must answer? Let's get a little bit deeper into the strategy. Number 1, when should a pop-up fire? There's only one way to really tell, and that's testing. You got to test everything. It shouldn't be on page load. What we recommend is waiting 6 to 10 seconds, again, testing on scroll intent or even exit intent, and let the visitor see your site first. Generally, a good rule of thumb is, let's say you have a 15-second bounce rate, set it just before that, maybe 8 seconds, 10 seconds, so that you don't risk people bouncing before they see the pop-up, but you don't annoy them as soon as they land on your website. What should it offer? Like I said earlier, just some sort of value exchange, not just a discount. That's boring. The 10% is played out. Make it a quiz result, make it a curated guide or a fit recommendation. Those work really well. A quiz, a mystery offer, $1 off instead of a percentage because it's more tangible. Email or SMS, you got to do both. Capturing both is going to give you a lot higher lift in the revenue that gets attributed to your retention program, because now you can't just target them. You don't just target them in emails in your flows, but you can also target them with SMSs in your flows and your campaigns. How many form fields? 2 max. Keep it simple. First name, email. Next screen, ask for the actual phone number. ZPD, this is what I was talking about, zero party data, where you're segmenting people based on their intent or what they're interested in. This is huge. Always try to collect this. Even a simple question at the front can boost engagement of that pop-up drastically. So ask them about their goals, their preference in relation to your product or the products that they're interested in. This is worth more than the actual email itself sometimes. So this is just a great collection of data that you can have to enrich your program later on. Exit intent or timed, I would combine them. You're going to want to test both of them. Ultimately, time fires on engaged users, and then exit fires on like people who are abandoning. You can have your timed on engaged users who first land on the site. You can have an exit intent for people who are on the product page, for example, stagger it a little bit and just test different strategies. Desktop and mobile, generally, Klaviyo is pretty good at making this responsive, but you do want to make sure that you are ultimately optimizing for both mobile and, of course, desktop sizes. Let's talk about the software that is changing games. We love this. We're a premier partner, full disclosure, of OpenSend. I'm going to leave a little link in the description so you can check them out. We've been using OpenSend for a little over 2 years now. The way that it works is they actually match anonymous visitors to your website, and they can actually capture their email addresses. Now, they have partnerships with over 300K magazines and publications and things like this, where when people opt into those, they agree to share your information. So when someone comes on your site and they don't sign up for your pop-up form, OpenSend can actually take the anonymous identification of that person's email and then add it to your email list. So this is a big one. I highly recommend that you actually check out OpenSend. Now, what does identity resolution look like in practice? These are 2 screenshots for 2 different brands, 2 live client accounts that we're managing, and we can see that there are anonymous visitors that are turning into matched identities, And they are actually placing orders where we have, for example, a $6,000 placed order value, and we have an $83,000 placed order value with 9,000 identities resolved in the last 30 days. And you can hit these people with both email and SMS, which is great because they have products for both. So highly recommend checking out OpenSend because they're great. Now, the compound math, same 12 months for two different brands, two completely different assets. On one end, if you play the garbage playbook as a reference, your list might grow to 75K. You have so many people coming in here, your revenue per send might be, 12 cents or 9 cents. The problem with this is that your Klaviyo bill is, let's say, $1,000 a month, and ultimately your revenue essentially becomes flat and plateaus because the intent of these subscribers sucks. It's very low intent. Versus if you do it the right way with the best performing strategies, you might end up with a list that is 30% of the size, a third of the size of the big garbage playbook list. But ultimately, your revenue per send is going to be a lot higher, $1.40 to $2.10. Just for reference, right? And your Klaviyo bill is also going to be lower. It might be $400. So not only are you making more revenue from your list, but the expense of running that list is going to be much lower, right? It's the same team, same marketing hours. The metric you optimize decides which trajectory you're ultimately on. So I highly recommend you see it from that perspective. So if you're going to walk away with something, 4 actions, 4 strategies that you can implement in 4 hours, and start today, here's what I recommend doing. Number 1, you're gonna audit your pop-up. I want you to rebuild it as a 2-step pop-up with a ZPD question where you're asking them some sort of segmentation or personalization to it, get that micro commitment, and then have an email followed by an SMS capture. Number 2 is you're gonna kill any garbage playbook, any giveaway flows, any giveaway pop-ups, any giveaway freebie strategies, get rid of it. Ultimately, you're just inflating your list with people who do not care about your brand or are just looking for a freebie. And number 3, check out OpenSend if it makes sense for you. It takes less than an hour to install it. And ultimately, you're going to start capturing your anonymous traffic that you can nurture not only in flows, but of course in campaigns. And number 4, I want you to get into the mindset of tracking revenue per send as opposed to list size, right? Change what you measure and what you build will follow. If you're tracking revenue per recipient, you're going to have a better grip on how well your email marketing platform and program performs, as opposed to just measuring the vanity open rates, an amount of subscribers, and things like this. Now, here's the pitch. If you want to build a list that makes your ecom brand more revenue, I would love to audit your actual account. I would love to take a look at your pop-up system, see how that's doing, what you could be doing better, maybe install the actual softwares that are going to help you acquire a much quicker and faster growing email list, and then put a real retention engine behind it. The same system that over 100 brands have implemented, from slow moving sort of $2-3 million brands all the way to brands like Jeter, who does over $250 million a year, and we've been managing the retention program for over 3 years now. So if this makes sense, there are no long-term contracts. I'd love to take a look, see what we can do, and ultimately, if there is opportunity for us to work together, I'd love to walk you through a 90-day roadmap where we can actually transform your retention marketing program. So if this makes sense, be sure to book a call, and we'll talk soon. Cheers.